Every job comes with a title, but that title never really tells you the full story, does it? I'm Tyler Moss, and this is Behind the Title, a series where I sit down with people from a range of different professions to talk about what their role actually means, the responsibility, the decisions, and the experiences you don't always see. And for our first episode, we're beginning with the fire service. In the fire service, a title tells you someone's rank, but it does not tell you their full story. We see the uniform, the white helmet, and the bugles on their collar. But what we don't see are the decades of sirens, the late night decisions, and the weight that comes with leading a department of hundreds. Today, we're going behind the title with Nate Moss, the fire chief of the Athens-Clarke County Fire Department. With 22 years of service, from a brand new recruit firefighter to leading the entire department, he has navigated growth, change, and the evolving demands of public safety here in Athens. Let's head to fire station number 1. Well, Chief Moss, thank you for sitting down with us. I want to start at the beginning. At what moment did you decide this is where I want to be?
Well, in my early to mid 20s, I had worked many jobs, and I ranged from being a hardwood floor installer to an electrician's apprentice to detailing cars, selling computers and electronics. I just didn't see myself doing those things 10 years from then. So around 2003, I started having conversations with family members who were in the fire service, acquaintances of folks that worked in the fire service that really told me more about the profession. Seemed like something that really was going to be fulfilling. I wanted something that would make an impact, something that I could do that would help others, but also would feel fulfilling and rewarding for me personally. And it seemed like that was something that was checking off a lot of boxes. So around the early to mid part of 2003, I put in a lot of applications at various fire departments, and I started to make a lot of progress here in Athens, and saw that the culture was one that I really appreciated. The people, the community, the department itself, its history and its reputation is something that really appealed to me. So I really put all my eggs in the basket of trying to get hired here, and once I got hired, once I started the recruit program, I knew that this was the right fit for me.
Right. So, as your career progressed, your responsibilities evolved as well. What made you decide you wanted to pursue leadership within the department?
Well, the first few years of my career, I was more concerned with just learning how to do my job. I wanted to be a good firefighter. I wanted to learn, basically what it took to be excellent at what I was doing, but also was thinking about, well, I'd like to learn how to operate fire pumps, drive a fire truck. I wanted to pay attention to what the those in charge of an incident and an emergency scene were doing, so I could anticipate their needs, kind of understand their thought process. So I kind of wanted to just be a sponge and absorb. But over time, I was able to be exposed to a lot more of the leadership roles in the fire service. I was directed by a lot of my officers to pursue self study, as well as take classes that taught more about firefighting strategies and tactics, but also how to manage a station, how to manage customer service complaints, and then eventually that grew into more of a profound leadership type role in learning more responsibilities of how to manage and run a fire department.
Now, shifting to your time as chief, looking back in the past 2 years in your role, what are you most proud of?
Well, I can't really pinpoint just one or two things that I'm proud of. Is as with anything, in my opinion, good leadership involves a great deal of teamwork and collaboration. So, as a team, as a group, we've been able to do a lot of wonderful things for our department in a short amount of time. So, we have been able to offer 40 hours per firefighter for off-duty training. So, when they're not on shift, they can get compensated for training that's specifically towards their own career growth. Our career matrix, our pathway to their leadership is something we wanted to invest in. So I'm very proud of that. It gives a lot more flexibility for our folks to be able to pursue avenues of training. Very, very proud of the fact that we were able to acquire 2 fire apparatus, as well as 5 being built currently right now. So our fleet is being renewed, and that is something that's exciting. I'm very, very excited for a site selection process that has moved to the point of actually having a site for our new Fire Station 5. It will definitely improve service delivery to the southeast corner of the county, as well as provide a 50-year investment in the safety of this community. And most recently, very proud of a compensation study that was put into effect by the mayor and commission. Our firefighters are now working under a compensation plan that's easier for them to follow, helps them to project and plan for their career trajectory. If they want to move up in the department, it gives them an idea of where they could be financially, as well as what it takes to get there. And it also has put them in more competitive payment for their services as related to the market. So I'm very proud of that.
Over the more than 2 decades in your profession, you've had to have seen a lot of significant changes. What are the most significant changes you've seen in the fire service?
Well, I've seen a lot of changes. Many of them are related to the technology of firefighting. A lot of the traditions and a lot of the I guess maybe strategies and tactics involved of protecting lives and property haven't really changed much. Some of the fundamentals are still there, but now science is proving why those methods worked in the past. So we're capitalizing on that. We're learning more about the science of how fire works, how synthetic materials play a role, and how quickly we need to respond and how effectively we can put out a fire, but we have a short amount of time to do so. I've seen progress in areas such as drones, thermal imagers, self-contained breathing apparatus, and even our own turnout gear that we wear. It really equips our firefighters to be more aggressive. It helps them to do their job more safely, but it also presents a challenge because we're wanting to keep up with technology, so we're having to learn a lot. So that's what I've seen over the past 2 decades. Also seeing that we are trying to adapt to the needs of the community. And as a whole, the fire service across the country is having to be more broad in the services that they provide. You know, we are proud that we offer firefighting, hazardous materials response, technical rescue training, but we also have to be a little more robust in our EMS services, and that's something that we as a department are still kind of new at. But we've made tremendous strides in offering that to the community to help supplement the EMS services for our community.
Along the way, there have been countless calls and moments, but in your brain, what is the most memorable and interesting call you've ever been on?
For me, I've had a lot of weird calls. I mean, you would imagine a career in the fire service, you probably have a lot that you think about from time to time, but it's really hard for me to pinpoint one or two that stand out other than those that were those first milestone calls for me. So I remember my very first structure fire. It was a cold, snowy night, very cold outside. However, I remember the intense heat when we finally got to that house that was burning, feeling the contrast of how going from cold to hot and how to be able to perform in a role that I had been trained to perform at, but have never had it in practical opportunities. I've never been to an actual working house fire, so I was able to really learn a lot from that moment with the help of my team. I remember my first time driving a fire truck on the way to a fire. I remember my foot just bouncing on that accelerator, and I was feeling nervous, trying to one, remember where I was going, but two, remembering what I was going to do when I got there. So that stood out to me. I remember my first, shift or two as a lieutenant of my own fire station. We had a very bad winter storm come through. We had 3 structure fires in our first due territory that I was incident commander of. But with the team that I had to support me, with the backup that I knew that was going to be readily available, it wasn't as intimidating as it could be, but it was definitely a memorable night for me.
So some calls carry more visibility and impact to Georgia. What was the biggest call you've ever responded to?
Well, I remember a couple of big calls. One that was probably my first big call was the University of Georgia main library fire. I was a recruit still. I was called in to come with the rest of my recruit class and help clean up after the fire. So it was an after hours call. We were working, after midnight, early hours of the morning, basically allowing me to see the damage that fire can truly do in a structure as well as into its contents. It was a lot of work to have to clean that up. But something that probably gained even more attention than that was the fire at the Georgia Theater. The reason it probably gained attention was because it's happened in our downtown area. It was visible from miles away, so obviously the local news really caught caught sight of the fact that there was a problem in the downtown area, but it also reached the Atlanta market. How helicopters were flying overhead, and it seemed to garner a lot of attention. I do remember that I was the driver of the third in ladder truck, Ladder 7. So we were the third in, but due to our ability to gain good access and where we were able to stage the apparatus, we were able to um, really be more effective than some of the other apparatus that were placed around the structure. So we stayed for several hours. In fact, that truck stayed for several days just to clean up hot spots and to keep the fire under control until it was officially out a couple of days later. But it definitely got a lot of attention. It definitely made a real mark on me and my career as far as the exhaustive efforts that are necessary from a department our size. It took a couple of shifts working together and almost all of our trucks at this scene to keep this fire under control and to do our job. But we saw the benefit of coordination, communication, and then of course collaboration as a whole. We were able to be very effective in what we did.
Your role today looks very different from being on the line. What are some advantages of being the chief?
Well, for me, some of the advantages of being chief was during my career, I was given opportunity to be involved more, to basically take on more roles and responsibilities within the department. But by doing that, allowed me to network with those in other departments in the county, to come to know our resources of our community partners a little better, kind of know how we need to coordinate and work together for the ultimate good of our community. So now in my role as chief, I have a better perspective on those sort of things. Also, seeing that I have an opportunity to make a more broad-reaching impact by decisions that are made with my team and the actions that are made by my firefighters, it really is an opportunity for me to feel like I'm having a bigger impact in helping those. And that's one of the reasons that I was drawn to this career to begin with.
But what are some of the disadvantages? Because it can't be all positive.
Well, that's true. One of the disadvantages, or some of the disadvantages, really are the fact that I miss working with my crews. The camaraderie, the teamwork, the life at the station, being together and doing everything together. It really exemplifies the fire service as a whole. I still try to take that approach towards leadership and decision making, but I really miss being with the firefighters. And to be honest, firefighting is a fun job. It is absolutely amazing. It was the best career choice that I could have imagined making. I really enjoyed the work. I really enjoyed driving fire trucks. And I really enjoyed being in charge of an incident scene, helping to make decisions that I knew in the moment had to be made. I really enjoyed the process, but most importantly, I miss working with the people. So I try to have an open door policy. I try to encourage those that can take the time to come visit me to please do so. I love getting caught up in their personal lives, the challenges that they're trying to overcome. I love the ideas that they come up with and how to improve the service of this department. But I'm really trying to make more time to go out and see the folks at the stations. That's what I miss most, is those connections. But I understand that that's one of the necessary parts of this job.
Leadership in this role carries a different weight. In your opinion, what separates a good chief versus a great chief?
That's a good question. So a good chief may be somebody that's gotten a good education or has acquired a good level of experience in firefighting or in management of public safety agencies. But to me, a great chief is taking advantage of the greatest resource that we have, and that's our people. Being able to manage that resource, being able to know the strengths and weaknesses of those members of our department, getting to know what they bring to the table, kind of knowing in the back of my mind, this person is capable of doing this job for this reason. That to me helps to differentiate a good chief from a great chief, because nothing is done alone. We're not in a silo. I can't go fight a fire on my own. I can't get on the radio and expect somebody just to individually do something and make a big impact. But together, knowing how we can orchestrate and manage our resources together makes us really effective as a fire department. And I think just being able to channel that and utilize that in the decision-making process, being able to utilize that in communication processes, I really think that makes us as a department better. And I feel that probably can help to set those two levels apart from being a good chief or a good leader to being a great chief or a great leader in an organization.
Looking ahead, the classic city is only going to continue to grow and change. So, what challenges do you foresee in leading this department in the years ahead?
I think the biggest challenges are just kind of anticipating and reacting to that change, but mainly planning ahead. We see that this community is growing, its population is growing, but also are the buildings. The buildings are getting taller. The population is being more dense in certain areas, especially in the downtown area, the university areas. So being able to have the right tools, equipment, apparatus and staffing will allow us to better do our job, but also anticipating the best delivery of those uh, apparatus and staff. We want to make sure that we are appropriately sending the right number of trucks. We want to make sure that we're anticipating the needs for future purchases because there are large purchases that will have a 20 to 30 plus year impact on the decisions that we make. So we want to make sure that we are weighing the options and that we are acting appropriately based on the needs of this community. Very unique.
Now, beyond emergency response, the fire department plays a broader role in the community because everybody loves firefighters. So, what are your goals when it comes to community engagement and I guess community outreach?
So something that we've been working on for the past few years is trying to get a dedicated full-time community outreach coordinator position filled. It's been a request that we've put out there for a couple of years running. We firmly believe that we're going to have that soon. That community outreach person will hopefully be able to design education plans, life safety plans for vulnerable populations, for school groups, and other community organizations. We're hoping that this person can one day lead a team of outreach educators to help us to have a bigger footprint in the community, to help us to be more involved, and to help us to continue to educate on the community risks that we have outlined.
When all is said and done, leadership is often measured over time. So, what do you hope your legacy as the fire chief will be?
Well, I really don't want a legacy that just kind of spotlights me. I would expect, as with anything, my goal and I guess my focus is kind of to solve problems, but also make decisions that would benefit the department and the community, but then move on to the next issue. So I really just hope to have a lasting impact that not only helps us to carry on the traditions and the foundation of this department for those that have set the path before us in the years that preceded me. I'm hoping to leave it just as good or better for those that will follow me because this department will be here for generations to come, and we only want to see it get better. We want to see its reputation improve, but it's not about me leaving a legacy, more as the department itself having its reputation continuing to be strong in the community and being strong in the Northeast Georgia area as well as in the entire state of Georgia.
On a more personal note, what are your two favorite things about being at work?
Well, about being at work, as I stated before, I really enjoy the people. So I love having conversations with others, not really formal meetings per se, but more just conversations because I feel we get a lot more done in a conversation face to face. I can talk to you for 5 minutes and do a lot more than 30 emails could do, or us texting back and forth. I feel like those personal relationships happen better face to face. And some of the best conversations I had are again with my firefighters. I enjoy hearing their ideas. They're the ones doing the work. They're the ones observing how we could potentially make improvements. But I also have the opportunity to help teach them through my experience. These are the things we've tried. These are the things that haven't worked. But maybe we can go in a different direction. How do we get there? So I really enjoy that part. But also just enjoying the community as a whole. I love getting out and walking around the streets of Athens. I really enjoy walking on the greenway trails. A lot of time I get during my lunch break, a lot of work done just by reflecting on my day, going out to the greenway and just kind of ruminating and meditating on what I want to accomplish. So I really enjoy having alone time, but also people time. So even though those are polar opposites, I find that both ways help me to do my job.
And to contrast it, what are your two favorite things to do when you're not at work?
Very similar. I love spending time with friends and family, but I'm also a very quiet person. I don't really do a whole lot of social activities out and about, but I enjoy spending time with others. But I also enjoy time just to be out with nature, running, walking, exercising, being outdoors. I really enjoy those activities.
For those considering this profession, what would you say to someone who wants to join the fire service?
Well, I would say definitely start asking questions. Don't be afraid to do that because that's what got me started. Asking questions, mentally checking the boxes of what I thought I wanted in a career, as far as something that would be rewarding, but also something that would be appreciated by others, having a meaningful impact. So the sooner that someone knows that that's the direction they want to go, I encourage them to pursue that, but I also encourage them to consider pursuing career growth within the fire service. So not just getting here, but also thinking where you want to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years in this profession, because this profession really can equip somebody to go from someone like me with no experience whatsoever to actually running and managing a department. And it's all of the education opportunities are there, um, should be taken advantage of. If someone's willing to put themselves out there, take a chance on career growth, maybe even willing to make a mistake and look bad in front of others, they will see the reward is there for putting more into this job. They'll see the payout.
You've spoken to me about how much you've enjoyed being on the line. So, if you loved it so much, why give it up for this role?
Well, it's something that happened over time. Obviously, I wasn't, a brand new rookie firefighter envisioning myself as being the fire chief in that moment. Um, But as I had the opportunity to grow in this career, as I learned more about how to be a firefighter, how to be an apparatus operator, how to be an officer in the department, I was given opportunities to learn and reach out and do more. I've been able to carry many roles additional to what we would find traditionally in someone's career path. I've been the department public information officer. I was able to be a training captain for a while, so that gave me a lot of exposure to something outside the walls of a fire station, outside the walls of the department. You learn to network with others in the profession, be able to talk to other industry leaders. And then as I continued to grow, I saw this as an opportunity that I could have a greater impact. No, this was the choice that I made. I thought that I could have a greater impact with more responsibility within the department as the fire chief. Um, but I was also given plenty of opportunities to help equip me to get there. But to be honest, of course, I missed the fun of the job. Um, but for me, I wanted to have that impact, and I wanted that impact to be far-reaching. And I felt the way for me to do that was for me to continue to reach out there and to shoot for the stars. And when the opportunity availed itself to even become the fire chief, I didn't see that on the radar even a few years ago. But I didn't want it to miss me. I didn't want to miss that opportunity. I wanted that opportunity to be something that I at least put myself out there because of my love for the department, my love for the people that I work with, my love for this community, and my desire to make it all better. I didn't want that opportunity to go away.
Well, Chief Moss, Dad, thank you for sitting down with us and taking the time out of your day.
That was my pleasure. Thank you for doing this.
Titles tell us someone's position, but they don't always tell us the weight of the responsibility behind it. It's easy to look at a chief and see a policymaker or a public figure, but after today's conversation, it's clear that every single fire chief is shaped by the firefighter that came before him, the one who chose the shifts and the difficult calls because he believed in the mission. And that mission doesn't just stay at the station, it comes home. It shapes how you lead, how you mentor, how you raise a family. Today, we talked about leadership, service, growth, and what it means to carry responsibility, not just on emergency scenes, but every single day. It's been an honor to document the legacy of this fire department, but it's also a greater honor to document the legacy of the man I get to call my father. Again, I'm Tyler Moss. This is Behind the Title, Episode 1. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
You all right?
Yeah.
You're not going to cough up a lung, are you?
I hope not.